Hello guys and welcome back to another FPL video. As you can see, I am trying my new template for videos, so hopefully you like it. Today we're going to discuss some wildcard drafts for Game Week 18 as we approach the final weeks that you can use your wildcard chip if you still have it. I decided to prepare a wildcard video because I think Game Week 18 is the better week to use it ahead of Game Week 19, honestly. So yeah, I prefer the Game Week 18 wildcard draft, and I decided to prepare one for you. So for those of you that still have it, I know that several managers are still keeping it. It's going to be, I think, at least helpful to see some notes and what I think about the draft. As you can see, I'm going to start all my videos now with a preview. So we are going to see exactly what's going on in this interview. You can choose a section where you want to go and analyze. Those are some head points. I'm going to talk thoroughly about more things, but for now, those are the three main steps. As you can see, there is a sub go down under my camera. I'm using the wildcard for this video. There is a league code you can join, and the budget for this team is only 110.4 million starting from scratch, so most of you will be able to afford it. I don't think any player will have issues affording this team. Of course, I will talk about some replacements. I will talk about players that I think, if you're on a wildcard, are a must to own. So we're going to discuss several things. Stay tuned, buckle up, and we're going to go into a very interesting wildcard draft. Let's start by discussing the fixtures ahead of us. We're starting from Game Week 18 and we're going up until Game Week 24. Of course, we're going to take into consideration that most probably in Game Week 24 there is going to be a game between Liverpool and Everton, the postponed game. It's an away fixture for Liverpool, so Everton at home, and it's going to be interesting to monitor that and to prepare some players ahead of that because you're on a wild card and don't want to use any extra transfers up until probably Game Week 21, 22, so the team is built for at least 3-4 weeks, and then you have some preparations for Game Week 24. Starting by analyzing the fixtures, I see several teams that are in a good form and are having an okay fixture run. Several teams are in a good form but not with a good fixture run, and one team in particular is in a good form but is in the good fixture run but in an awful form. Let's start by Arsenal, discussing them. They have a mixed bag of fixtures, especially defensively. The issue here is that Saka got off injured today and most probably he will be out around a month. That would mean up until Game Week 23. So it will be highly difficult to choose an Arsenal player to go for, so in attack. So I would be probably steering clear, but defensive options against Ipswich, Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, they can keep clean sheets and they can score in any situation or assist with those set piece shenanigans that they do. So I think Arsenal defenders are going to be a good pick. Now we move to Aston Villa. There is Newcastle, Brighton, Leicester, Everton, Arsenal, West Ham, Wolves. So not that bad of a fixture run. To be fair, like the difficult fixtures offensive wise are gone. Newcastle are not that amazing of a defense. Brighton, no. Everton, no. Everton, Leicester, no. Everton after that, you can say they're okayish, Arsenal okayish, but then West Ham and Wolves. So you may consider an Aston Villa player, one player in particular that's doing pretty well in Game Week 17, but it's a big if because there are other players at that price point. We're going to discuss that. Bournemouth, a little bit of an iffy. I don't like that much their attack, so no thank you. Brentford, I think you should avoid on a wildcard. Brighton, I think even though they have an okay fixture run, with the way that they are playing currently, it's on a hard avoid. Chelsea, facing Fulham, Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves, City and West Ham. So I can check all those teams, probably apart from Fulham, are an easy defense to target. Like today, Palace conceded 5 goals. Fulham are a strong side. They played well against Liverpool. They played against Arsenal pretty well, and they were sound and solid in defense. So it's a little bit tricky to pick players from, but for sure Chelsea is a team to target players from. Palace, another team that is in a mixed bag of form, but the fixtures are there. Bournemouth, Southampton, Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, especially in offensive side of things, and even you can consider defensive wise, I think they're in a good run of form. Everton, good team defensively, bad team offensively, but not very good form. Not only form, but fixtures are awful in my opinion. Fulham, pretty good fixture run after Game Week 18, so you can go for a player from them, and they're in a, I would say, a nice form. Ipswich, awful fixtures, hard avoid for anyone over 4.0 in my opinion. Leicester, completely the same. Liverpool, in my opinion, one of the top 2 sides currently in the Prem, and with a great fixture run, I will highly consider players. Now we're reaching the team that I'm saying awful form, good fixtures, so we have to think about something from Manchester City. You cannot go into that run, especially on a wild card, without at least one player, so we will have options to discuss. United, mixed bag of fixtures, but several players may stand out. Newcastle, great form, bad fixtures on the horizon, but I would say that some players are interesting to watch. Forest, top 4 side currently in the Prem, mixed bag of fixtures. One again, a little bit iffy discussion. Southampton, new manager bounce. We'll see what will happen, but for now, it's an avoid for me, for anyone above 4.5, honestly. Spurs, mixed bag of fixtures, but they can score against anyone. West Ham, bad fixture run, bad form, avoid. Wolves, new manager bounce, but bad form and bad run, hard avoid. So those are the fixtures. Probably I will target players from Spurs to bring in, probably from Forest, Newcastle, City, United, Liverpool, Fulham, Palace, Chelsea, Villa, Arsenal. So maybe 11 teams are on the horizon for me. That's not a small amount of numbers for teams. So yeah, those are teams. Some teams are good defensively. Some teams have defenders that are good that you can attach to your team, that play well offensively even though they concede goals. So we're going to monitor those players as well. All in all, I think we will be able to pinpoint some players. Now let's go and dive into the draft that I managed to cook. I'm going to explain every player that I'm picking and why I'm picking him and what I will be looking if I'm to replace this player. But yeah, let's dive into those teams. Starting as per usual with the goalkeepers, I have a big surprise here. I'm going for Alisson Becker. You're going to say, but this guy is expensive, you can go for another Liverpool defender, and that's the complete truth. But I think that Alisson Becker is a great way to enter the Liverpool defense currently. First of all, he is nailed. Second of all, I don't think that Liverpool will concede a lot of goals. So Alisson Becker is ideal to be in your goalkeeper spot and just picking up points. I was mentioning that Liverpool is most probably going to have a double up in Game Week 24. And you will want at least 2 players from Liverpool. And he currently is the cheapest nailed way to enter that Liverpool defense. If he is suspended or if he is injured, that's bad luck and you can replace him with Kelleher. But for now, I think Alisson Becker is a great move to do on a wild card. He's cheaper than Raya. He's having a double week. He's having Leicester at home, so immediately probably a great bounce and some great points. So I don't see anything against that. You can of course go for someone like Sales, who has been performing out of this world and is doing well. You can go for someone like Onana, I like a lot. You can go for someone like Henderson, who it's a little bit iffy in my opinion, and you can go for Raya, of course. But I think the standout keeper for bringing from now up until 24 is going to be Alisson. So if I'm on a wild card, I'll be looking to bringing him in. And as you can see, 5.4 with only 100.4 million in the bank. You have money in the bank most probably, so it's not taking that much of a budget. On the bench, nothing too spectacular. It's Fabianski. The only reason I'm picking Fabianski currently is because he is a starting goalkeeper at 4.1. The fixture run is not there, but if something happened to Alisson and you cannot react in that particular week, Fabianski can come in and can replace Alisson and can cover for a week or 2 until you bring in Kelleher or someone else to cover in your goal. So yeah, playing keeper at 4.1, you can save money, but as mentioned, the budget currently is not spent the whole of it, so I will be considering having at least playing player. So yeah, Alisson in goal to start with, Fabianski. I think that's a solid defense. Sorry, a solid goalkeeper behind the defense, which we're going to see right now. Moving swiftly into defense, as you can see, I have several players. Not that popular, not that exciting maybe for some of you, but I think that's the best defense going forward. Of course, you can interchange those players with others that rotate well. But I think looking at the fixture run, you're going to see in a second when I move the move team around for weeks and without making any transfers, this team is screaming clean sheets and is screaming some attacking returns. So we're going to start with the obvious pick. It's Gabriel. I think when he plays, he's the better option instead of Saliba. When Gabriel is out, Saliba, of course, is the better option. But at 6.2, most probably he will rise in price. But for me, he is the only player worth going for from Arsenal currently. I know that there are some talks for Gabriel Jesus, maybe from Martinelli, maybe for Odegaard or something like that. I honestly don't think so. For me, Gabriel is a standout goalkeeper currently in the league, defender in the league. Did I say goalkeeper? No, defender in the league. And he can do some serious damage offensive wise and can bring you clean sheets. He got an assist today for a goal and he got a 4-pointer even though he received a yellow card and they considered a goal. So those are a lot of points. And at 6.2 he is currently cheaper than Saliba, but I don't think that this will be the case for a while longer. Next up is an interesting player. It's Gvardiol. It's against Everton. Currently City are having a lot of issues defensively, so I don't think Gvardiol is going to be benched in any shape or form. I already pointed out that City are having a good fixture run and I don't see a reason to bench Gvardiol, and I still don't. Not only to bench, but to not play. For me, he almost scored today against Aston Villa and could have had a massive haul if that happened. So at 6.1, I think he is the cheapest route into a City team without sacrificing a lot up front and without spending massive amount of money on someone that is not going to return the points. So 6.1 for Gvardiol, I think a great addition. Next up is Munoz against Bournemouth. Then he has Southampton. He's playing basically as a right winger currently. Before the suspension, in amazing form. I will be most probably tempted to bring him as soon as possible. I don't know still what's the situation with Cunha, what's going to happen in my team, so Munoz may need to wait another week. But honestly, such a great defender, such a great attacker of the game. A lot of teams miss such an attacking right wing back, and Munoz for me is a great option. At the same price point, you can go for Robinson, but as you can see, I'm having Castan in my defense. I think that Castan is going to do a similar job compared to Robinson, and you are not rotating such an expensive defender. You can go for Aina, who keeps scoring those 15 pointers 7 or 8 weeks apart, but if you keep believing in him and in Forest, you can go for Aina. He's nailed. He's their best defender, in my opinion. Muriu, Milenkovic, they play also good. Today they surprised me with a 5-3, 4-3, so no, it was 3-4-3, sorry, with 2 wing backs. So Aina and Williams were hell of attacking, so that was a little bit surprising. So yeah, I think Munoz is a great addition into the team. Aina and Robinson are options to replace him. You can go for Cucurella as well. You're going to say, but Cucurella is from Chelsea. Yes, true, he's from Chelsea, and I think he is the best defensive options that they have. So Cucurella is an option here if you're looking for another Chelsea defender. Honestly, it's a toss-up, but if you are a little bit need of money and don't want to invest that much in defense, in my opinion, Munoz and Castan in particular are the best rotating option to go for, because let's be real, you're not benching either Gabriel or Gvardiol anytime soon. The final defender here is Darrell Shea. I know that Southampton are having a better fixture run, but first of all, I don't know who is going to start in their defense with the new manager, and I know Darrell Shea is playing every week. I know Ipswich are not keeping a clean sheet, but at least you've got a body that's in defense and that's playing. That's it. Simple as that. 4.0, you're not spending that much of money, and for now the bench is 12.3 million for 3 starting players. Not the best of players, but at least they're starting and you're not having so much headaches. Now we're entering the hard part of the video, building that midfield, because there are so many options. We're going to discuss them. So without further ado, let's move into midfield. Moving swiftly into midfield, I think we have some interesting players here that are worth discussing. Let's start with the obvious picks. Mohamed Salah, I don't know what else to say about him, apart from that he is the best player in the league currently, and he's the best player in FPL currently. He hasn't blanked in 10 weeks, something like that. So yeah, he hasn't played yet against Spurs, but Leicester at home, if they didn't have a fixture against Everton that was postponed, this would have been one of the weeks where I would consider triple captaining him. Yeah, if you activate the wildcard, triple captaincy out of the equation, but most of you already own Salah, so if you're watching this video only to get some info on good players, on the longer term, Salah is a worth triple captaincy if you're looking for a week where to use it. I will be holding up until the double up, but you never know about those strategies. Leicester at home, 13.4, it's a lot of money, but if you are on a wild card, you can afford it, and in my opinion, the best player that you can get. Nothing else to say. Palmer, second best player in the league, in my opinion. 11.2, a lot of millions. He has been rising in price. Fulham at home, it's not that going to be that easy of a game, I would say. Like, Fulham are not a deadbeat team, and I don't think that you will be able to just bully them into defeating them, but Palmer is essential for the run going forward. You'll see later on when I rotate the fixtures, and you see how I'm going to plan it up until game week 24 probably if I'm on a wild card. I think that Palmer is as essential as it gets, so those two are non-negotiable. Next up, we get to two negotiable players, because I'm picking Maddison and Amat. Dibbling, let's talk about Dibbling for a quick one. I think he's the most okay 4.5 player currently, as they have an okayish fixture run, and if something happens to your team, you can pick in Dibbling, for example, against West Ham. Why the hell not? That's up for Dibbling. You can go for Harry Winks or for someone 4.5 that's playing. It doesn't matter, but in my opinion, Dibbling is the most exciting option to say. Moving swiftly into Maddison and now discussing Maddison. I think that Spurs are scoring goals for fun, and I think that Maddison is heavily involved. Yes, he's being rotated heavily, so you may have weeks where he plays only 10 minutes and it's frustrating, but then you get a start from him and he scores 3 goals and you are over the moon. So if you're there for a little bit of a trick, you can go for Maddison. You can say, but if I go for Maddison and he is a little bit of an iffy pick, why don't go for Jota? That's an amazing question, because I think Maddison is more nailed than Jota, I would say. But Jota is an option. You can here go for Mbumo. Great price. Around that price range, you can drop him, because I don't like that many of players. You can drop him for someone like Rodgers, who I think is a brilliant player, but Aston Villa tend to rotate a little bit. Rodgers haven't been rotated yet, but he is still on 4 yellow cards, so 1 week in particular, if he gets another card in next 2 weeks, he's suspended. So yeah, a little bit of a shenanigans. Maddison, I think a great pick and a great price point, because you're not that far away of reaching players like Son. If you have the money, you can go for Son in particular. I know that Saka would have been the better pick, and that would have been completely the truth, but Saka is now out and you cannot pick Saka. And not being able to pick Saka means that Son is a great option. I might consider him for my team in particular. And of course, you can do whatever the hell you like with the money. But Maddison is a great cheap alternative. Not the best one, but great one. Amat, I don't know what to say about him. He hasn't played yet in game week 17, so I don't know how he's performing then. But he's facing Wolves, and he has been in amazing form, and he's the best player in that United team. So I think that Amat would be a very, very great player to have in your team. At only 5.3, he's a cheap enabler. Yes, you can go here for Enzo, you can go for Iwobi, you can go for Sar, who has been in a hot form. You can even pick someone like Rodgers here at that price point. A lot of options, but I honestly think that if you're going for that cheap midfielder, Amat is your guy, and that will be the best solution there. As you can see, we haven't spent a lot in midfield because we've spent quite a lot in attack. Let's go and see what we are doing in attack. We have some alternatives and a little bit of a worries, but let's go and see how it's looking, and then we're going to discuss alternatives and then swiftly move into the future plans of that team. And having here the attack, let's start discussing by the most obvious pick here. That's Isaac. He's in a hot form. If you're on a wild card, please bring him in. I know that his hot form will end sooner or later, but still after that there is a great fixture run and he has the potential to explode. He's currently in the most amazing purple patch I've seen in a while, and he's climbing those strikers ranks in with such a swift speed. But I still think that Isaac will continue performing one way or another. Aiden don't have a replacement for him. If they take a lead, they sub him off and he's a little bit rested. Then he plays and hopefully he will maintain that. Aston Villa at home, not the easiest fixture, but Isaac has shown that in the harder fixtures he can perform and I'm relying on that. So Isaac, that's about it. Next up, we can discuss Jackson. Jackson has been one of the best players up front in this season. I'm honestly thinking that after Liverpool and Arsenal are looking for a striker, Jackson already is there for Chelsea, and Chelsea are so lucky for that. 8.3, he's not going to come cheap, as already mentioned with Palmer. Fulham is not going to be easy, but you're not picking him only for Fulham. There is a big if here, because he's, as Rogers is, 1 card away. So if he's suspended, I would recommend not going for him on the wild card. Probably I would pick someone like Mateta for the next week and ride with him. You can go for some other interesting options, but honestly, I prefer only Mateta. You can go for Wissa, because after next week, he has Arsenal, then Southampton, so you can rely on Wissa. But honestly, if Jackson doesn't get a yellow card against Everton, I think that he should be in your team in game week 18 if you're on a wild card at 8.3. Brilliant. And we're reaching the final player here is going to be Chris Wood at 6.6. I think still the best enabler in the game is called Chris Wood. Most probably on pens. Nottingham are playing out of this world currently. So yeah, I don't see anything that is going to go against Chris Wood. Yes, someone may say that he might be rotated or a little bit of a rotation risk, but honestly, I don't see it. In my opinion, he's just good, he's just great, and he's just going to keep improving and keep grinding. So yeah, I would say this front line is the best one that I can see going on a wild card. Let me hear down in the comment section what do you think. And now let's go see how the team looks for the foreseeable future and what moves may occur if you are in a little bit of trouble. However, with money, we'll have a lot of money in the bank, so we can adjust the team accordingly if something happens. Here is the team already loaded in FPL.team. As you can see, with my budget and the player that I already own, I did 10 transfers, so basically that team is heavily changed compared to mine, and that's 1.8 still in the bank. So that would mean that from 100.4, if you add 1.8, you have 102.2, which is not that less of a money. So you have options, but for now you're going to see why I built this team in particular. If you look at this week, Alisson at home, Gabriel and Gvardiol at home, Munoz away, okay. Palmer, Salah at home, Amat and Maddison away. Jackson, Isaac and Wood all at home. You would say Spurs and Forest face, yes, but I don't own any defenders and I think Spurs are conceding, so Wood's a great option. Isaac, hard game against Aston Villa. Oof, I forgot the name, but at the end of the day, he's in a hot form, and Jackson against Fulham together with Palmer. Castane is not going to be last on the bench, but probably second to last. Diblink will be here at home. Fabianski faces Southampton, so all in all in a pretty good position. Moving into game week 19, you still have Alisson against West Ham, Munoz against Southampton, Gvardiol against Leicester, and Gabriel against Brentford. The attack and midfield is facing easy teams, not so much for Isaac, but still United away he can score some goals, and Amat facing Newcastle, not the easiest fixture, but you can go there. So no transfer needed to be wasted, and you have, if you haven't saved a transfer yet, you have options. Moving into game week 20, game week 20 is still going to be around 4th of January, which is in 10 days, honestly, and you still have Alisson against United, not the best of fixtures, but you can deal with it. Gabriel against Brighton, Gvardiol against West Ham, Munoz on the bench, and Castane in for that game in particular. Maddison facing Newcastle, Amat facing Liverpool. I would keep Amat here because he will be pressing hard. You have Salah, you have Palmer. Not the best captain options in this week, but Salah against United's record is good. Palmer in the derby in London can be good if you are willing to just throw it. You have players Isaac against Spurs, not hard offensively, and Wood against Liverpool. So I think all in all a pretty good team to have. Moving swiftly into next week, you have Alisson against Forest. But here you can, if you want, really bench Wood and go with a 4-4-2. That's an option. So you have Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Spurs for your team. Yeah, Maddison faces Arsenal, but here you can offload Maddison, but to be fair, he faces Everton and Leicester after that, so I would be quite hesitant to move him away. But let's say a player appears that's with an amazing fixture run and with an amazing form. So looking at the fixture run, starting from here, you can pick another Palace player. So let's say you go for someone like Sar here. And you have Leicester, West Ham, Brentford upcoming. But to be fair, Everton, Leicester, Brentford, after that, I wouldn't say that Spurs are having a bad fixture run. And the North London derby always is a little bit techy. But you have players. Then moving swiftly into Game Week 22, if you don't face any injury issues, to be fair, I don't think you'll be facing any issues with your team. Here you have a slight benching headache, but I would bench probably Munoz or... let's see which team is in a better form, but let's say you bench one of them. You have playing players in 22, Brentford, so apart from injuries, I don't see a reason you rotate this team, honestly, at any shape or form. Or suspensions, long suspensions, to be fair. Now you reach Game Week 23, and here it comes the interesting part. Here, City's fixtures turn for the worse, and here I immediately will go for another Liverpool defender. I have the money for Virgil if I want a nailed player, or I can go to Alexander-Arnold if I want something with more points potential. Elsewhere, you still have City for Palmer and Jackson. Yes, you can say, okay, here I'll sell Jackson. You can go for a player like Duran/Watkins. That's in a good form here. You can now start picking back some Brentford attackers because the defense they're facing are not that good. You can start picking some players, but all in all, the fixtures turn for the worse for most of the teams. But let's say you sell Jackson, let's amuse ourselves, and we go for Wissa. Most probably Saka will be soon fit, and I will be looking to bring Saka back as soon as possible. But yeah, we'll see for Maddison or not for Maddison. It depends on the structure. You can completely change the structure and go for someone like Stewart here and just sell Matt for Saka. I don't know, the money are not there, but you may have the money if you're in a better budget situation than me, if you're on that wild card. But honestly, I may pick Wissa and go forward. And next week, yeah, Maddison is still a good option. Some injuries may occur to your team, you never know, but then you go into Game Week 24 where Alisson will probably have a double up. I may go for an Everton defender here just for the sake of it and pick Mikulenko, let's say, because currently they will have Leicester at home and Liverpool at home. I bench Munoz, play the the triple Liverpool and one Everton, and happy days. I can now replace Wood as well for someone, like go for a player from Villa, as already mentioned, if they're in a good form. Everton, no. You can find a player that's in a good form, or you can just keep Wood. Oh no, I think that's a pretty good wild card to consider if we go back. Let's go and see how the team looks once again, and we're going to do the outro there. Here is the team once again. I already showed you in the previous section that this team can be rolled into oblivion if you don't have any injury issues. Even if you have some injury issues, the budget is there to control it. You have a bench to cover it, so I think you're in a pretty good position. Once again, going from the back, it's Alisson, Gabriel, Gvardiol, Munoz, Salah, Palmer, Maddison, Amat, Isaac, Jackson, Wood. On the bench, Fabianski, Castagne, O'Shea and Dibling. I think that's as cheap as the bench can go without hurting you and without having non-playing players. I think you're in a good position. Castagne may become a risk when Tete comes back. Jackson may receive a yellow card. Maddison is minutes risk. You have some risks there, but you have the nailed players such as Gabriel, such as Salah, such as Palmer, such as Isaac, that I think are just non-negotiable at the moment. Those four are in the core of your team if you're wildcarding. So yeah, the guys on the far left side of your screen are the nailed ones. Hopefully you enjoyed this extensive wildcard explanation and video. I will try to do more videos as I'm going forward with more statistics, not just clicking around. I will do my preparation before created this team, analyzed the fixtures, and gave you the data that I prepared. If you enjoy the content, make me reach my target of 1850 subscribers. I am with 1818, so yeah, a good number at the moment, but let's increase that and let's keep growing together. My goal is to reach as high as possible and to as many people as possible, so please make it possible. Like, comment down below if you think that the wildcard has some flaws, and if you think that this team is hard to achieve and you see some weaknesses. If you do, please share them down. Yes, of course you can do a Haaland draft, of course, but I don't think that Haaland is worth currently 15 million with the way that City are playing. So yeah, I have not talked about him because I honestly thought about him, tried doing something with him, but that's meant to sacrifice Madison and to sacrifice Jackson, which currently I'm not willing to do. Yeah, you can go for Rodgers and Amat Haaland. Yes, that can be a move, but honestly, I think it's not for me. You have to go cheap in defense, cheap in midfield, and mediocre in attack. So yeah, I think it hurts me a lot, and I see Salah being the captain option throughout that period. And yeah, that's from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of the community, and I hope to see you soon with more FPL content that's going to be coming your way. But for now, guys, I'll be heading out. Bye.